Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the latest episode of Dudes Watch a Movie Podcast, where this episode we talk about the classic movie No Holds Barred, and we'll discuss such things as traumatic scenes, wrestlers and wrestling in movie, and why muscle guys always be growling and stuff.
Are you associated with the muscly guys?
Speaking as a former jockass, I confirm that is how we are.
You're all growly and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I should also add my problems with doors.
Keep that in your back pocket.
Yeah,
your back pocket there. Before we kick all this off and we get to all the the important deets and all that jazz, we do got to give a shout out to Kattie Luar, who did some critiquing on our previous episodes.
Good stuff.
So we're trying some of her recommendations out, and she has her own podcast called Alpaca My Bags. See what she did there? It's
clever
play on words. And they have a podcast about like traveling to different places that cover tourism, controversies, and funny travel stories. So check it out.
And where can we find that at?
Wherever podcasts are sold.
Most I've seen it on iTunes and some other hosts, but yeah, I found it on there. It's free. Just give it a listen. Whatever.
Now that we've got all the important bits out the way, let's get to the deeds. I don't know. I didn't have a word there. I just kind of was going into it.
The extras, the little tidbits. I'll start opening with the
dirt
plot.
sheets, brother. That's a little wrestling reference for you, dude.
Dirt sheets?
So dirt sheets are like what they used to call it when like people would have like spoilers about wrestling show, and like that's where all like the rumors and
you're gonna be throwing all sorts of language in this episode, aren't you?
Probably.
Kayfabe, curtain call.
Go home.
Madison Square Garden. Screw
Don't
job.
worry. Towards the end, I'll tell us when it's time to go home.
Perfect.
I'm sorry.
All right.
Screw job.
So plot. They didn't have a short synopsis as part of the a lot of the other videos we watched. Mm-hmm. So we got hit with Rip is the World Wrestling Federation champion who is faithful to his fans and the network he wrestles for. Brel, the new head of World Television Network, wants Rip to wrestle for his network. Rip refuses to go back to his normal life. Still looking for a way to raise ratings, Brel initiates a show called The Battle of the Tough Guys. A violent brawling competition. A mysterious man, Zeus, wins the competition. This gets Brel to use him as an angle to get at Rip.
We watched the trailer, so let's hear some trailer thoughts. When you get, I have seen this movie, not countless times, but enough. You two have not seen it yet. So since we watched the trailer, before knowing anything about it, like what was your thoughts?
Go ahead.
Just from the trailer itself?
Yeah.
My question was how long it is. Hour and 30 minutes. It's an hour and 30 minutes of Hogan being Hogan because Hogan.
Yeah, the trailer conveys that pretty well.
Yeah. Disappointed though.
You're not wrong. 100%. A lot of skin. I basically, based off the trailer, I thought it was basically trying to be a serious take on wrestling and what people think wrestling should be. And then there is the humor that's sprinkled throughout it, the entire thing, just to make it so that the children or Hulkamaniacs be drawn to spend their sweet, sweet parental cash.
Mm-hmm. And it is very WWF /E humor too, very potty humor.
Was this one of their
Slapstick.
productions?
No, that's actually something that I was gonna mention at some point. At the beginning of this, it's like the remastered whatever, and it says WWE film. That company did not exist at the time.
New Line Cinema, I think, is who they proposed it to.
Yeah.
So, okay, when did kayfabe end? Kayfabe being the wrestling is real. We're gonna pretend it's real. Even though we have a zombie and a clown wrestling each other.
So, in the 80s, there were like two prominent wrestling organizations, right? You got WWF, and then you've got NWA, who is more like Southern, and then WWE is, I'm just going to say E from now on because that's what I'm used to at this point. They're like in New York and Northeastern. And the 80s is when you start seeing kind of the split of how wrestling is portrayed. So WWF is like Hulk Hogan and Macho Man and Jake the Snake and big over-the-top characters and like more spectacle than anything else, versus NWA is like Ric Flair and Harley Race, people like that, where they're like trying to still portray it as like an actual like sport competition deal.
Not entertainment.
And exactly. And I think that's where your first not your first, but there's always been like people like wrestling is fake since the inception of wrestling, because there are people that know actual physical combat and can probably put 2 and 2 together.
It's still real to me, damn it.
It's real to me.
That's when I think the first big kind of shift goes, because at that point it's like getting kind of hokey. But the bomb really drops in like the early 90s, like 91, 92. There's a big steroid scandal that goes on, and so before like a court of law, Vince says that it is not a sport and it is just entertainment. And
even before that, didn't he just announce it on the show one night?
No, so they do that later.
Okay.
Like 90 something, they finally say like it's not real, and I think it might be after the screw job. That could be wrong.
Wasn't that also used to avoid the commission fees or whatever it was?
There were a couple times previously where that was less public knowledge, that they were telling commissions like it's not real, because they wanted to charge them like athletic commission fees and things like that, because it's a sporting event. But it was the steroid scandal, I believe, was the big, like, Vince finally in a public forum said, yeah, it's fake.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And I remember learning it was fake when I was about 6. My sister, bitch. Just kidding. But she made me cry. Yeah.
Oh, no.
She's like, it's not even real. It's fake. And I was like, it's not fake.
Back to the movie,
You
though.
wouldn't let go of that.
Wrestling movies tend to have one of two ways. Either it's real fighting and they're actually competing.
And we will get back to that.
Or it's like the wrestler,
yeah.
where it's all part of a show and then you see him phase out.
Right. And we'll get back to that.
It's real fighting.
We still need to figure out all the details.
Oh, right.
Can you guys guess what the budget was?
60,000.
$2 million.
I
You're getting there. So it's
this
in
is
the millions.
90s money,
It's-
so
$8 million estimated that they spent on this.
Okay. I think that's the highest.
Can you guess how much
Budget.
it grossed?
Oh.
I'm surprised by this one, honestly.
This came out in 89?
Yeah. June 2nd, 1989.
It's like the tail end of Hulkamania. Did it at least make its money back?
Oh, yes.
16.
Yes. Actually, 16 million. Yep, on the dot. Well, not on the dot, but obviously more. But gross.
They
in the
doubled their
USA.
money. Wow.
They doubled their money for that.
Is this
for that horrible film?
I feel like this has to be his most successful film.
I didn't really look into that one, honestly, because
I
was
don't
just
think
like,
Suburban
You don't
Commando or
think
those made their money
Mr.
back.
Nanny or wasn't he in like a beach where he had a talking boat?
Thunder in Paradise.
I
Thunder
feel like-
Paradise.
I think that was a
Yeah.
TV show, though.
I feel like the Nanny one might have been a lot cheaper to make.
Yeah.
Because this one had a lot of effects in it.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things you see as his movies go along. They like get less and less of a budget.
To be fair, I mean,
Yeah.
He's not as big of a draw as they were hoping.
Yeah.
So
he's no
Santa with
Schwarzenegger.
muscles, brother.
Wasn't that Goldberg?
No, that's Santa Slay.
Santa Slay. Okay.
close. Taglines.
Oh no, rip it.
Well,
Rip 'em.
I read it. Whereas no rules, no refs, no relief.
Oddly enough, this had 2 different taglines. The no ring, no ref, no rules.
That was
Got
it.
that one. And the other one is the battle of the super tough guys. Like,
Wow.
okay, cool.
Why did he just call it no holds barred competition?
Yeah, that would have
It's
made
right
more
there in
sense.
the
Right?
title.
That would have
Right.
made way more sense.
Right
The
there in
tough
front of your face.
guys.
So clearly Hulk Hogan is in this movie. Who else is in this movie?
Hulk Hogan. Jonah Severance as Samantha Moore. Kurt Fuller, as some of you may see, is always the slimy,
Yeah.
businessy backstabber dude.
You know what
He
else?
is the
You know what
nose.
other movie he basically played the same role in, but not as evil, was Wayne's World.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, it wasn't
Technically, it would be
the other dude? I can't remember his name.
oh fuck, what the fuck is his name from Parks and Rec, right?
Yeah,
That's gonna bother me that I'm brain farting on him.
I got this. I got
You
this.
have a thing right in front
He's
of you.
got. I can't take.
I have a
I can't
computer.
look away from that. You know.
No.
But he's like in this version he's progressed past that and he's become the slime boss. You know.
Was it Wayne's World 1 or 2 that we watched?
Wayne's World 1.
Rob Lowe.
Rob Lowe, yeah.
Yeah.
Rob Lowe's in that?
Yeah,
Wayne's
he's,
World?
He's
Yeah.
the bad guy.
He's the guy that tries to buy him out and sell him out and
Huh.
try and hook up with the
I haven't seen
hot
that
band
in
person.
full.
Orders the cream of some young guy.
We also have Tiny Lister as Zeus, Mark Pellegrino as Randy Thomas.
Satan?
Randy Thomas, isn't that a band member from like Three Doors Down. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Fuck if I know.
Bill Henderson and some other names, which I may be completely skipping over, but I will say that the commentator guy?
Jesse the Body
Jesse
Ventura. I don't know
Ventura.
what voice that was because it wasn't even close.
No.
It's going to be a problem all episode long. Sorry.
Gene Okerlund
Just
as
gonna
himself.
slip into Macho.
Okerlund.
Ochre.
Gotcha. Rip.
Gene Oakland. Now
Howard
you've got me
Finkel
fucked
and
up on it.
Joey Morella, all as themselves.
Morella.
So, but yeah, no. So those are my
Okerlund.
casts. Those
Gene
are box
Okerlund.
office eats and your plot, yo, and your tagline. So
I'm a little upset that he didn't have a promo with Mean Gene.
yeah, that would have been nice.
Yeah.
That would have been a good callback. Although I don't know if Mean Gene wanted to be associated with not Hulk Hogan.
Rip.
Yeah, because I feel like maybe he would have been really in his character and just kind of.
Getting back to what you were talking about with how wrestling is portrayed in movies. This one like tries to ride the line between both of those in the weirdest ways. So it, in all reality, should take place in the real world because the very first match is in the WWF. He's got the actual WWF title. They've got the actual announcers and commentators, although
They're never on screen.
Mean Gene was never. They show him.
Oh, I guess
Once.
I missed it.
Yeah, Mean Gene was never really a commentator. He's more the like the interview guy, but it's neither here nor there. But for some reason, Hulk Hogan is not just Hulk Hogan. That's so weird to me. Like, why is he Rip?
I wonder. So when it popped up, WWE Productions, I'm like, okay, so they made it, but no, they weren't around then. So if
Right.
it was New Line Cinema, or whoever you said, did they try like charging them for the right to the Hulk Hogan name? Because he is Hogan in all but name.
Yeah.
Is he wearing yellow in the first match? I don't
No,
know.
he wears
all
his
blue.
blue and white
Blue
the
and
entire
white.
time.
Here's the problem. We were watching wrestling matches before this, so now I'm blending them together
Right.
to what happened.
That makes it even weirder though, because then they have an actual match in the WWF, but now he's Hulk Hogan.
With a guy that looks like Dan Aykroyd for some reason.
Well, that was the guy in this
Bullet
movie,
Jake or
Yeah,
Jake
yeah.
Bullet or something.
who I don't believe is a real
Oh,
wrestler.
you mean Zeus coming in for a promo match
On SummerSlam, right.
yeah.
Yo,
But now he's Hulk Hogan.
that happened.
So why are they having this no holds barred? Because Hulk Hogan's got no beef with Zeus. Rip has beef with Zeus. And where was Kurt Pellegrino? Or Mark Pellegrino?
I didn't realize, but Tommy Tiny Lister actually wrestled in 3 matches. That was it.
He should have had a cage match at one point.
It
I
was
feel
a
like.
tag match with Randy Savage versus Hulk Hogan and Brutus Beefcake at SummerSlam, an 8-man tag where he was eliminated by DQ, and then finally, since Vince knew the movie was a bust and wouldn't sell on PPV, by itself, he sold the pay-per-view No Holds Barred the match/movie, which included a steel cage match between Hogan, Beefcake, Savage,
There
and
it is.
Zeus.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thrilling.
I
mean,
know.
would you say it was a flop if they made double their budget back?
That could be its overall.
Overall.
Like that could be not just a
'Cause it
theater
is
run.
About 20 some odd years old.
If I'm being 100% honest, I'm pretty
20.
sure this is one.
It's like 30.
Almost 30.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
30. I
This
guess
is
that's
older than me.
This will be its 30th anniversary. I feel like it was definitely a cult classic. Like, not a good movie, but God, it's so much fun to watch.
It's like, yeah, it's like The Room.
Yeah.
It's so bad it's good,
Yeah.
but not.
So last week I was ripping on Bloodfest hard for pulling stupid bullcrap. For some reason, I can forgive this movie for pulling bullcrap. The second Randy, his brother, shows up, I'm like, okay, he's gonna get hurt, and that's gonna drive him to the final match.
I think that would be because it's so old.
Maybe,
A
And
new
who's
movie
involved,
shouldn't be
maybe?
making the same mistakes.
maybe that's it. Yeah,
It
and
could
because
be
it's Hogan in a
Hogan,
wrestling
exactly,
movie,
Exactly.
I'm not expecting anything intelligent.
And
out
honestly,
of
this was their first foray into making films.
That makes sense.
Basically, this launched Hogan's career into acting.
That makes a lot
Air
of
quotes.
sense.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, for a guy that talks at least a lot, at least half his stuff is interviews and
And that was
whatnot.
his big deal, too.
Yeah, he was very.
He was never a
talking.
work rate kind of guy. He was a good promo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Knew how to cut him. But yet, every time he's not snarling or yelling, he's like, "Hey, now I like to work with kids in charity. Put that in your brief." Did I say the line right? Did I do the line? Okay.
Line.
Fine. So with Hogan kind of breaking down that first barrier of I get maybe not breaking down, because I know Piper was in They Live, and that should have been like 86, right?
That wasn't really a wrestling movie.
True, but he was an actor a wrestler who was an actor at that point.
With the vice president from Saints Row. I forgot his name. He's in the
David
thing.
Keith?
Yeah, Keith David.
Or would it be Ventura in Predator?
When did Predator come out?
I just made a realization.
What's that?
So because I was looking at the names and I totally forgot. So the guy who played as Ludwig Lugwrench Perkins, that's Jeep Swenson.
That's why he looks so familiar.
And I was just like, wait a minute, I remember hearing about that because he played Bane. He was Bane.
God, there's so many connections to the movies. What other connections we have? Mark Pellegrino. Fuck, I always want to say Kurt for some reason. Was in the Big Lebowski, which we definitely did for this.
Mm-hmm. Batman and Robin for Jeep. And oh man, I was just like, wait, Jeep? Is this the same Jeep I'm thinking of?
So in terms of wrestlers turned actors, where are we sitting in the pantheon? Like who's going where? Because I mean, is it? It's pretty clear that Batista has to be the best, right?
At the moment in time, yeah.
Batista is like, in terms of like ability, quality,
Okay, yeah.
Like,
I'd say so.
Batista's got to be one, right?
But he's also playing a character that's
for
like
real?
mostly muscles and.
Oh, are we really counting
Drax
as a
Blade Runner 2047? He was in James Bond.
For like 10 minutes.
Still in it.
Is this where we reveal that I hate The Rock as a human being? And that
Rock has been in more movies.
I was gonna put him at like number 2.
I mean, I may hate The Rock, but he's got to be like the most successful wrestler to actor.
Yeah. So if we're going pure success, Rock's number 1. I was saying like ability. I think Batista.
I would still say Rock.
Really?
Yeah. I don't like him, but he's gotten much better.
I think
Drax is just, the whole joke is, I'm big and dumb.
Yeah, but his comedic timing though is impeccable. Whereas The Rock only has the one mode. The Rock's mode is just, I'm badass. That's me.
But would that be qualified up for something like James Gunn? Like, is it James Gunn?
I think a lot of that can be the director and the writing.
Not so much the actor himself.
Possibly. But, I mean, he's also going to be in the Dune remake, so we might get to see more of it in there.
The what?
Dune.
Oh, that's a Doom. I got excited.
That'd be cool, too. Yeah.
It's like, oh.
Yeah.
Bring back The Rock.
But yeah, Rock would 100% be like the most successful. He's like the highest grossing actor of the last so many years. And, well, even his missed movies like do gangbusters. It's crazy.
So then right after that, John Cena.
Right?
You said he was funny.
Not in movies. That's not fair, actually. I guess I never did see him in Trainwreck, which I hear he's hilarious in. But he is playing himself, isn't he?
We did watch him in The Wall, which he doesn't act
He's pretty much
other than
dead the whole movie, basically. Yeah.
You have something from like House Party,
right behind you,
or Neighbors 2.
It's literally behind you.
It's
right under net.
Okay. Oh, there he is. I see him.
That's a good point. Yeah, he might be up there. So Hulk Hogan, we're establishing, is at like rock bottom here, right? Like in terms of ability, but watchability. If I'm putting on a wrestling movie, I better have Hulk Hogan because I want to have a good time.
Randy Savage.
I've
only seen him in one movie though.
He's only got a couple that I've seen, but he's good in them.
3 minutes of playtime.
Although that brings up the argument for The Rock's ability because he's basically just playing himself with a different name.
So I guess this is the wrestlers and movies, your topic.
Yeah, that's where we've got.
I just wanted to make sure
wrestlers and wrestling.
Sling.
And we talked about like the portrayal of wrestling, and I think there's a lot of interesting like. It's just I don't know. It's weird to me because this movie clearly had some form of cooperation from the WWF. So you would think that they would have tried to help them make it a bit more like true to form in one way or the other.
This is basically a propaganda piece for wrestling.
So
why not use Hogan?
But what had happened is they had given New Line Cinema the script, and then they did their edits and gave it back. And Hogan and Vince McMahon did not like it. So they took 72 hours and rewrote the entire script.
That makes less sense then, because if they got the final creative say...
Maybe they weren't trying to make it as much as wrestling hard.
But it doesn't make sense, though, because like you were saying, it's a propaganda
Rip's
piece.
entire character is, oh yes, I'm not just a dumb meathead. I speak French. Oui. I forgot what his line was.
Right, yeah.
You'll find the hamburgers somewhere else, you big dumb idiot.
But
I like to do charitable work with kids. I'm a good guy. I won't take advantage of you.
But
yeah.
But they're like, there's easy things that they get wrong. Like, why is the final fight in an 8-sided ring? Why not a wrestling ring?
It's their first foray.
That was actually TNA.
That's a 6-sided.
Getting whatever. I never watched it. I was gonna make a joke. Fun. Whatever. No.
UFC would have made more sense. Step into the octagon.
I don't watch that either.
But on the other hand, they would have enough knowledge to understand that the wrestlers are not contracted to a network. They're contracted to a federation. So why are they talking about, we're going to bring him to our network, and he's going to be on our network? What the fuck's he going to do? You don't have a wrestling promotion on your network. There's things like that don't make sense to me.
Yeah.
But then there's other things where they're like clearly giving a peek behind the curtain. Like Kurt Fuller is kind of the booker at that point, and he's like 10 minutes and then you lose. And it's like that would be what they would tell the wrestlers. But Hulk Hogan, he's got creative control. And he's like, nah, brother.
I don't lose.
Yeah, I don't lay down for no one, brother.
I'm going to win 2 matches. You can win at the big one.
I can take your ulti several times and we'd be all right.
For real.
No sell.
But no, like I chalk it up to just being their first foray, and maybe they weren't entirely sure that, hey, let's slam our. Maybe they were trying not to be so into it to the fact where if it does flop so hard, they can't directly be associated with, we make shit movies, but we also have a great wrestling thing.
I'm sure that they were pushing this as WWE superstar Hulk Hogan starring in.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even the fact that they credit him as Hulk Hogan when that's not his real name.
Yeah. Terry
Bollea.
Bollea from Miami Beach, Florida.
Yeah. Looking like a hot dog.
Man pennies.
It's also possible that they, like, since this was before the steroid trial, they did want to make it seem a bit more legit, I guess. They're like, because they're just showing him having like brawls all over the place. Like, he's a tough guy. These guys are tough guys, and they fight, and they ain't no cooperation. It's a real brawl. I tell you what.
Kind of like the interviewer that he choked out and then cracked his skull open.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that deep reference.
Yeah. It's Belzer?
I don't know.
The guy from Law & Order SVU that had the colored sunglasses all the time. It's that guy. Who,
I didn't watch that enough.
fun fact, I think it's Richard Belzer. Anyways, I'm related to that guy, oddly enough. My grandma, her maiden name is Belzer, and it's like something removed is like how that connects back to that guy. And they told me that, and I was like, okay. Like, why are we talking about the guy Hulk Hogan choked out?
Do you think we could get him on the show?
I'll put in some calls.
It's a little late now.
Yeah.
Question. Do you think this movie was kind of a stab at Ted Turner, WCW, trying to steal wrestlers away from McMahon? Or was that after this?
That would be after this. That wasn't...
I don't know about all that controversy. I just knew like the breakdown.
WCW would be in its infancy.
That was a big thing.
I saw some of the promos on the network where they were basically bashing each other, or at least one was bashing the other quite hard.
The Huckster and the Nacho Man.
It was a big thing trying to steal talent away from the other people.
Because that would have been 95's when Nitro launches, and Luger shows up on the first episode. So what we were watching with the Canadian Tuxedo Man, that is the whole deal of what's going on there. That was Scott Hall and Diesel from WWF, and they're showing up just like coming through the crowds, and people are like, oh my god, they're invading.
You want a war?
I'll
give you a war.
Bang.
Raw is war.
Yeah.
Chico.
Yeah.
Why?
That's where that basically comes from.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jock ass.
You jockass. I feel like the only natural course of action after discussing that is muscle men and why they grunt.
Yeah. Like, what's the whole point of that? Like, does growling and showing your teeth just make you stronger and more scary?
Yes.
I mean, at the same, I don't get it. Why couldn't they just be kind of like tactile muscle men? Because I mean, if you're,
because it was the 80s and cocaine was a big thing.
That's true. That defeats my entire argument right there. Drugs,
not the cocaine.
If they made this movie now, they wouldn't the entire time. I think like it is a movie for its time. I just had to get it in there. I had to sneak it in. I couldn't do my one wrestling reference because the entire episode.
Right.
This is the one where you don't have one. Given now they made it, the wrestlers now have a lot more screen presence. They have a lot more verbal ability. Whereas, like, you can clearly tell where Hogan goes from screaming, yelling to, I'm now reading lines. Or Zeus, he has like 5 lines of dialogue.
If
Everything
that.
else is just
Faces and growls and grunts.
and snarls.
It's so strange too, because you like see not dichotomy, but you see we'll say the duality of Hulk Hogan. Because when he is just snarling and growling, like that's when he seems like at his normal state, and he seems totally like within character of himself. It's when, like you said, when he starts talking is so weird. Which
when he talks, he's got a real dad vibe to me. He's got that kind of like educated voice of just like you can do it.
It's like the
son.
baritone.
That's a
or
really
something.
good segue into my traumatic experiences.
Let's hit it.
Go
Let's
for
hit
Do
it.
we want to do it now?
Go. I have to.
Okay.
Go. It's been killing
Okay.
me. It's been killing
Have you
me.
ever met my father?
When he popped into Subway, but
Once
that's
or twice.
about it.
Do you remember what he looks like?
Is it Hulk Hogan?
It's been a
Yeah.
lot of years.
I always thought my dad looked like a Hulk Hogan. He never had the blonde hair, but he used to have like the real long mustache, and then it became a beard. He has like the bald spot around here and the long hair.
I don't think I
I
saw him
always
in that
thought
type.
same facial structure, same height. He's not as
He just didn't have the
jacked.
build.
Yeah, he's not as jacked as Hogan. I always thought he looked like Hogan, and he would wear like denim and ride his Harley around. So I'm having these traumatic experiences, seeing my father in fucking man panties.
Oh no!
Fucking push-ups.
If you haven't seen this film, be prepared to see Hulk Hogan in bikini-style
A
underwear.
lot of Hulk Hogan.
European.
You might see more in this than his actual porno.
Wait, what?
Oh, Hogan has a porno.
That's a thing?
Oh
I
yeah.
love his
Oh,
his
no.
sensitive Hulkster pose while he's in those pink man panties. Let's get the light here.
Ooh. So was your dad a wrestling fan?
No,
I was wondering if he like took it from Hogan. He's just like, that's me, brother.
that's how I want to look like, son.
I came to a realization not too dissimilar to that. Like last year, I was watching Ric Flair promos, and Arn Anderson was standing in the background, and I was like, holy fuck, my dad looked like Arn Anderson. Like the beard, the kind of receding hairline, the glasses, and I was like, that's where he got. I sent a picture to my sister, and I was like, do you know Dad used to hang out with Ric Flair? And she's like, Arn was his favorite. And I was like, well, shut the fuck. This is where he got all the style from.
Oh, I wish. No.
God, what wrestler is your dad?
My dad. Oh, I
don't
couldn't
think-
even tell you.
Yeah, I don't think
my
I
dad-
could see Jeff being any wrestlers.
No, he's just nope.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah.
He's not that. He's never really big. He was never really into wrestling, honestly. And the only time I ever discovered anything wrestling related is whenever hung out with Luke, and then that was pretty much the jump off from there. But I never had the channels to watch it or anything. So like, he had all the figures and all this and that. And when I'd go hang out with him as a kid, like we'd play around with him. I was like, I don't know who these people are. They're just big and ripped, and they look like the X-Men figures because they have muscles. That's all I got out of it.
Yeah.
Way bigger than the actual actors.
And there's another thing about it. When I watched it, I felt like it was just, to me, even right then and there, I was like, that's not real.
No.
Like,
Yeah. No.
who stomps when they punch? Who
Yeah.
stomps when they do anything? And so
It's all about the story and the build-up.
that's the thing,
Every
too.
single Hogan match is the exact same. Gets his ass kicked
Yep.
for 10 minutes, and then he hulks out and then wins in 3 moves.
They do have a setup. And you told me that as we were watching it. Anytime someone sets up the table, they're going through that one, not the other person. And every time I've watched it happen, it happened. And I'm just like, what? There's rules.
There's so many things that once you notice, you'll never not notice them. It's crazy. Like it borderline wish I didn't know them because it does take some of the fun out of it. But at the same time, it's just like it's almost like now meta watching it because you're like following what the story should be and where it should be going. And then if they like subvert your expectation, you're just like, holy fuck, this is amazing.
That's actually when I got out of wrestling. That's
When
when
you
I
noticed.
figured that out.
Yep.
Like, okay, this always happens like this. This is this person.
I
And
did
then,
the same
and then
thing.
when I learned that no one liked Undertaker and he was never going to win, so
You start
my
watching it
favorite.
so much, about 98% of your predictions were right. And that's why when I started doing the predicting game with my Des Moines friends, I was able to be like, hey, what do you think it's going to be? And then I put those down, and I was usually the top one on there. It's like,
I did the same thing when once I started realizing the formula, it was like 2006 or 7, and it was like Batista and Randy Orton and John Cena. I was like, fuck that, I'm done. And also I'm like 14, 15 at this point, so I'm just like, fuck wrestling, this is stupid.
that's about when I got out of it too.
And then Then I was able to drink.
Listen,
And CM Punk was around, and I was like, oh, this is so much fun.
So
cause to and solution to all of life's
Yep.
problems.
there's one thing I don't understand with. Okay, so granted, yes, movie for its time, but wrestlers are basically actors in the
Right.
ring. How does that not transition very well on screen?
I used to have a buddy. He was big into wrestling, and we always called it physical improv. Because not everything is scripted. Big moments will be. And if you listen closely, you hear the wrestlers talking.
Yep.
Botchamania.
So it'd be like, hey, do this. And then do that.
Another big thing too that I think, especially watching this movie, even in the movie, Hogan is still doing it. It's like the difference between stage acting and movie acting. It's big motions and making sure every single person sees what you're doing with your body language. So even when Hogan's on camera, he's still doing like the big, like, oh, get in here, come on in, like trying to let everyone in the audience see what he's doing. And I think that's where they don't have subtlety, which is what you want to do on screen.
They play to the back audience.
Exactly.
Just so everyone can see big wind up stomp punch because you're not actually hitting them.
Yep.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's I think they're working. They're at a weird point now where they're trying to make wrestlers more of an actor, and it makes everything kind of wooden and stilted. And it's like I wish they would just cut loose and tell them to be fucking weirdos again, because I think that's where wrestling and these kind of movies really succeed. Because like WWE puts out movies and they're garbage. They're
Didn't
just
they do
bland.
that during the Attitude
propaganda.
Era? They just went wild.
Yeah.
And it just got weird.
They were like, Hogan, do that. But now you're a bad guy. And then they're like, Stone Cold, chug beers. Why not?
Give birth to a hand.
Well, see, we don't want to talk about the bad times. People always romanticize
The
the
Attitude
Era,
Era.
and they forget about all the hot garbage and the like racism and sexism. And
Ugh.
Hey, remember the time Stephanie got kidnapped and forced to marry someone twice?
it was twice, wasn't it?
It was me, Austin.
Wow.
The only thing
One was successful too.
She got kidnapped a lot.
Oh.
So
I will say the only thing I've really liked out of all the episodes that you've shown me is when she gets out of that wheelchair after being stone-faced for
That was Linda.
so many matches.
Which I so wanted Mark Pellegrino to do in this. Like when he's in that wheelchair and he's like, you see his fingers start twitching. It's like,
Pinky
get up,
twitch.
Mark. Get up. Kick him in the dick.
what was it called? Ready to Rumble.
Oh.
And you were paralyzed, and then you got up and you hit him with your own crutches.
I think maybe that's where they got the idea, was the combination of that movie and this movie. They're like, Linda, we got the plan.
Speaking of some stereotypes that we were talking about earlier, so when I was looking this movie up on IMDb, they have plot keywords.
Okay.
And so when someone search keywords, something will pop up. So when I look this one up, it has rating, champion, World Wrestling Federation. The next one is black stereotype. And the next one after that is crossed eyes.
Is
So,
that
if you
is that a
search crossed
stereotype?
eyes,
I don't think
This
that is a
movie will
stereotype.
pop up.
No. I don't think there was a black stereotype, but there was definitely some crossed eyes.
like why is
Tiny? His name's Tiny?
Yeah.
Or Tom?
So
They call him Tiny.
Does he
Yeah.
normally have cross eyes? Because I vaguely recall him
Tiny
having that
Lister.
in Friday.
I think he does.
Yeah, like that's an actual thing he
Yeah.
has.
Cause he's also in Fifth Element, which we talked about, which we also reviewed.
He
And I
was
think
the
he's got it in
president.
that too.
Okay.
Tommy Tiny Lister.
And the only reason I'm saying that is because I don't think he's method enough to hold his eye like that the entire time.
I was trying to do it and it hurt in like 2 seconds.
Yeah. You keep making ugly faces and it's going to stay that way.
I mean,
Nope, not doing it.
now later in the years, it
He
seems
might have
like
been able
it's
to
starting to
correct
close
it.
a bit more, but yeah, he's getting that.
Shawn Michaels
The
needs to
Forrest
correct
Whitaker.
his.
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, he's got a real bad one, like where it's
Ooh.
just starting to go.
I don't think I've seen that.
There was so there's like an Onion style website for wrestling news,
Oh no!
and it's called Kayfabe News.
I see
And
what you're talking about now. Oh.
I saw one of their articles today was Shawn Michael has his eyes on a WrestleMania opponent. The other one is slightly to the right.
Oh no!
Oh, sad.
Oh dear!
He did a lot of drugs.
Holy balls! Was there a match where Shawn Michaels was butt naked almost?
No, not
Jimmy
that I
Del
know
Rey.
of.
Shawn Michaels versus Jimmy Del Rey. Anyway,
Not that I know of.
This movie has weird
Yikes.
pacing.
It does. You mentioned that while we were watching
pacing
it.
and timing.
Anytime Hogan's on screen, it's great.
Mhm.
Anytime he's not, it's just I don't.
It kind of sucks all the fun out of it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Then once he comes back and he goes into his snarling rip phase, just...
And it's only got 2 songs on this soundtrack, I swear to God. It's got the Zeus song where it's kind of like those... And then it's kind of like a weird synthy thing in the background. And then Hulk Hogan shows up and it's like... Well,
it has no holds barred at the end.
Well, yeah, that's true.
The only time you hear the phrase, I think.
So the soundtrack apparently is going... Oh, I see. They have... Those are the names, so never mind. I thought it was written by Hey Pumpkinhead, but no, that's the song title by Terry Adams. So I guess these are all performed by NRBQ, whoever that is.
Not a clue.
By Virgin Records America.
Probably their like Z team writing staff.
So there is apparently only, what's this, 2, 4, 6 songs in there.
That makes sense.
No Holds Barred, Hey Pumpkinhead, Going to a Party, Criminal Mind, Chocolate Orange, All My Rowdy Friends.
Wow. Solid. That's going playlist for sure. One thing that also irritates me a little bit about this movie is the title, No Holds Barred. Doesn't make fucking sense.
Did they even mention that at all in the whole movie?
So an actual No Holds Barred match is, as the name would imply, there is no holds that are barred. Normally a chokehold is illegal. Low blows. Technically a closed fist is illegal in wrestling.
I didn't know that until like a couple weeks ago when you told me that.
They don't follow their own
100%.
rules.
No, it used to be illegal to throw someone over the top rope during a match. So a bunch of those have gone out the window. But this is not a no holds barred match. This is like a hardcore match order, like a no disqualification. There's like literally no rules. Like that lug wrench has a lug wrench.
There is a rule. Get in there, beat your opponent by any means, but don't kill him.
Oh, no killing.
Yep.
You got a tiny
That's
wing.
the only rule.
I think that might have been a wrestler as well.
His name was Bubba.
He does
I'll
look
have to
familiar.
look that up because he wasn't listed in the cast.
He reminded me of Stan Hansen, but I feel like Stan Hansen's better than that.
So many wrestling matches are interchangeable, right? Oh, it's a ladder match, so it's no disqualification because you can literally do anything.
Yeah.
You can use any weapons. It's a falls count anywhere. Like, okay, so it's no disqualification.
Yep.
They're all very interchangeable. They're just kind of a title.
And that's a problem with the modern product too, is if it's a ladder match, because they'll have like, remember when TLC used to be so cool and it was just the Hardy Boys killing themselves?
Vaguely.
So now they'll have a whole pay-per-view called TLC, and that means there will be a ladder match, there will be a TLC match, there will be a chairs match, there will be a tables match. Does that not seem like a bit of oversaturation?
Kind of homogenized.
Right.
Yeah.
And like in a ladder match, you have no rules. But for some reason, both wrestlers have come to an agreement that they're only going to use ladders. They never were like, hey, there's a chair. I'm just going to use that. Or let me hit the bell.
Yeah. There's chairs under the ring. There's tables. There's ladders. There's kendo sticks for some reason. They're just all under there for whenever you need them.
Yeah,
Don't use them, though.
Kendo sticks are very integral to setting up a ring.
There's barbed wire attacks.
Stan Hansen.
It wasn't Stan Hansen?
It was. Refused to drop the American Wrestling Association heavyweight title in 1984, which, when told directly by AWA President Vern Gagne, never officially dropped the title and was stripped for failure to defend it in 30 days. But yeah, no, that was him.
He was the gross guy. God, he should be better than that. He's a big Japanese wrestling legend.
He's listed as Neanderthal.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, you were
it's
right.
Neanderthal.
THAL tells me otherwise.
It feels weird because had this happen realistically, the WWF would never allow their champion to go on to another promotion with the title belt to wrestle, right? I mean, hell, that was the whole reason behind the Montreal Screwjob.
That's true. That's
was because, God, what's his name?
Bret
Hart. Because he was supposed to win, but they were terrified that if he didn't give the belt back, if he left the company as champion, he could go to the
WCW.
cross promotion with it. Like, there is no way they would allow that to happen without being involved.
I'm trying to think of any instances of them doing that. I know they had some crossover stuff with ECW, but I don't think they ever had their champion show up. But I know WCW went to Japan one time, but that's a little different because they're like...
That's not direct competition.
Yeah.
At
right.
least
especially
back
at the
then.
time, without the internet and But yeah, you're right. I didn't even think of that while watching this movie because I was thinking there's no way that they would let him just go do this random thing. But Hulk Hogan's got creative control, brother. That's the answers to everything.
That's his superpower, creative control.
That's the Deus Ex of this movie is creative control. Something that wouldn't happen.
Cheat
creative
codes.
control, brother.
I do what I want.
God. Let's see. So yeah, traumatic scenes, growly muscles, wrestlers in movies. I think we hit every point.
Did anyone else get kind of pulled out by the ADR?
Yes and
Not
no.
really. I think I'm used to it now.
It was bad early on.
Being as it's an older movie, I kind of just accept it for that's just a thing they did.
Yeah, it's kind of like
there's a
laugh tracks
lot.
in old sitcoms. Like if they do it now, it's gonna bother the fucking out of me. But then,
I think back then though too, it was more genuine. I feel in some of them.
yeah, like actually in front of a live studio audience. Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas nowadays you can almost hear the same laugh at least a couple times throughout that 20-minute segment.
Yeah.
Ugh. Looking at you.
What else bothered you besides the pacing,
Big
the
Bang
ADR when Hulk Hogan's not there? General
That was my
logic
biggest
of this
thing.
movie.
I don't know why. I just forgive it. Maybe because it is older. Maybe because it's just a dumb.
I think it's something
movie.
that we brought up last time. It's the expectation going into it.
That could be true.
What going into Bloodfest, your expectation was high just because of who was making it. When you're going into a Hulk Hogan movie, your expectation is pretty fucking low just because of who's in it.
I'm going to set my expectations low so I can't be, dropped.
No wonder you guys never talk. You're a dead man, Ramses.
If we had all watched this on our own at different times, do you think it would have been near as fun though?
Probably not.
Because I think this might have been the most talking we've done during any movie, just like ripping on it.
I think with your knowledge of wrestling and then comparing it to the over-the-top nonsense that the movie is in itself, and then the fact that we're witty enough, it's like a good viewing party movie. I think that's how most cult classic terrible movies should be watched with a group.
Yeah.
I feel like if you watch it by yourself, it's pretty boring.
You might do a couple like intense breaths through your nose, just
Right.
But when you watch it together, like you can feed off it and start getting some real actual laughs.
Exactly, which is why I'm glad the first time I watched The Room was in a theater full of people.
100%. I don't know how many times we brought that up on this podcast, but I'll bring it up till the day we die.
It's true.
I think I would have enjoyed it, but not as much.
Right.
As with my friends.
They nope, lost that thought. It's gone. It got ripped from my head, brother.
Ooh, you jockass.
You jockass.
So, do we want to wrap it up with those last 3-4 things?
Yeah. Let's get that what the fuck moment going on. We'll start with you.
I had 3 different ones.
Holy fuck!
But I think the one that gets me the most was Hulk Hogan doing sexual push-ups on the bed. I was just like, why? And I didn't know what she was looking over. I saw the 2 hump things, and
The
I'm
feet,
like,
yeah,
I
the
was like,
heels.
what? And then he's like, oh, don't let me hold you up or whatever. And I'm just like, stop.
And then she just rolls over and deals with it.
Right?
And she smiles. Like,
The
what a
sexual
charming moment.
tension.
The other 2 I had was Hulk in really thigh-high shorts, and then nice to meet you, Samantha Ann Moore. You got a nice grip.
That's my what the fuck moment. Just the delivery of that line. He's just, you got a nice grip.
Okay.
Another
no
random
way.
connection too. You referenced it earlier. He is Satan. Mark Pellegrino is Satan in Supernatural. Kurt Fuller, the head of the station, is Zachariah in Supernatural. He's the angel who's giving him stomach cancer and just generally being a dick. Yeah.
That's his character.
What was your what the fuck?
Probably when Hogan's in those thigh-high booty shorts and then bending over. I can't even speak. Bending over his bag, like,
And the shot is just ass.
it's just ass.
They're doing like the
Bright orange shorts and like dark ass tan.
It's
Hogan.
almost like a Baywatch color short,
Yeah.
right? He's like, get me on the show, brothers. He was on Baywatch.
Really?
There's an episode of Baywatch
Not
where
surprised.
WCW comes to the beach.
Of
and
course.
Okay, so we're gonna go off on a thing because this is one of the weirdest things of TV I've ever seen, and I watched it as a kid and it was weird then. The older I get, the weirder it gets. So WCW is coming to town and they're gonna have a show on the beach, right? And the whole thing is it's gonna be Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, versus Vader and Flair in a cage. They're just like pumping iron and stuff on the beach, doing things, right? And then Vader comes up to him and he's like yelling because he's big and it's whatever. And then Flair says some things about styling and profiling. And Vader pops a fucking basketball and says, "We're buying this gym. All these kids are gonna get out of here because Hogan's for the kids and charity, brother." Right? Later, they're on jet skis, and they're just jet skiing around, him and Macho having just a gay old time. And one of them crashes, or someone crashes, and then the slow-mo, oh my God, we got to save him. It's Baywatch time. Pam Anderson is not in the show at this point. I think she's gone, or she's just not in this episode, which blows my mind, because you for sure would think Hogan would like me and her having a scene. They pull him off, and they're like, "Oh, you're Hulk Hogan." He's like... And so, like, the entire show keeps going on, and it's all about this the bash at the beach, although not really bash at the beach, because that's a different thing. And then they have this cage match, right? And they win, and it's like, yay, we get to keep the gym, brother, and the kids and all that. Meanwhile, the B plot of this episode, one of the Baywatch girls has fucking skin cancer. So they're having this
glass over that.
Yeah. They just keep cutting back to her and she's like, "Oh, you should really check out that mark on your leg, Stacy." Bunch of silly shenanigans with Hulk Hogan, brother. Come back. The results came back. It's skin cancer. More shenanigans with Ric Flair, brother. It comes back. She's like running out to the beach, like going past everyone. "Hey, you should put on sunscreen. Hey, check that spot." Like she's like going up, ruining people's vacations for sure with her weirdness.
Oh, no.
Is that not just the most like how is this the same episode?
It's like how The Room did it. What about breast cancer?
Now tell me, is there a follow-up where David Hasselhoff has to tag with Hulk Hogan?
I wish
to defend the WCW championship.
If it was 2000, maybe.
With RoboCop.
Oh, because RoboCop does show up.
He does.
Breaks Sting out of a really shoddy looking prison. God.
That's RoboCop.
Anyway, so that's my biggest what the fuck moment, I guess.
I mean, follow-up or like runner-up, there's no leg drop.
That's true.
I was waiting for it the entire time.
Is that like one of his things he does?
That's his finisher in wrestling is a leg drop.
I just remember reading something about the Hack's Handle one. Apparently that was his move back when he was wrestling in Japan.
That's also
something else.
Like Macho Man's move, kind of. Like he does it off. We kept seeing him do it off the top rope. So fuck you, Hogan. You stole Elizabeth. Now you stole my move.
There's a plane of beer now,
brother. What was your favorite scene?
Favorite scene? The hotel scene. Mostly because it's just not fitting. Like, I understand why it's there, but to the point, like, to point out the sexual tension, but I mean, it doesn't seem like it was needed. Like, they had it enough already, just like hanging out in the limos and all that jazz, but like, they didn't. It's not necessary.
You know, you can really like. It really hits it home when she just comes out in her bra and granny panties, and then you see Hogan just full mooning, dude, like, I mean, fully bent over, just wearing them booty shorts.
I can't get that out of my head every time I close my eyes now.
Okay, what was the weirder image? That, or the next time you see him when he's wearing now white booty shorts for some reason, and you can see his white panties underneath them.
That's right. They're see-through because his legs are so damn tan.
What was your favorite scene? After you are finished breaking.
Dookie.
I wanted to pick that one. If someone else would.
Yeah.
I have to.
It's probably the most iconic thing.
That's the one I knew about before.
I don't know if what the actor's name, like if that was the actor, Jeff McKnight, but he is credited in this movie as the name Dookie, Duky.
That upsets me.
But yeah,
that upsets me. If he was the
Dookie guy, and that's what he's credited as, Dookie.
If he was a Sith, he'd be Count Dookie.
It's like Darth Dookie. What?
My favorite was the bedroom scene. Like, that is, you could, if I was gonna show anyone a clip to be like, this is why you need to watch this movie. I would think the Dookie scene at first, but no, it's 100% that one. Like, just the weirdness that's going on, like them doing the cliche, like on the other side of the wall, and they keep like putting my head up to it and then walk away, and then she's gonna do it. For no reason either. They're just like, oh man, I'm falling for him. Why? Because he spoke French a little bit poorly.
Because he's for the kids, brother.
Put that in your briefs.
Samantha.
That's a close one for my what the fuck moment too. Is when they're in that boardroom meeting and he's just the whole time like.
Just making those duck faces.
Yeah.
He's got a strong grip.
Staring at the other lady's tatas right next to him.
Oh God, I'm scared to ask, but who was your MVP?
Hulk and Vince McMahon. The fact that they took the script that they didn't like, took 72 hours to rewrite the whole thing, and this is what came of it. Nice.
I just imagine him at his place in Stanford, like pacing back and forth. Hulk's wearing them booty shorts, nothing else.
Just in the hotel room, just like, man, what are we going to do? What about if we do this?
Vince is wearing like the big lapelled jacket from the 80s, and they're just both caked in powder. Yes. He's doing the dance the whole time.
McMahon on the walk.
I got a suitcase full of cocaine. Let's do this.
Who's your MVP? Brother.
I mean, I want to say Rip, but I also kind of want to say the announcer.
I almost did that one.
Because he's having fun with it at least.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Which one? Which announcer?
The one towards the end.
The one that's like pacing around?
Yeah.
The one,
the one that you were like, do you think up-and-coming actors who are trying in movies that shouldn't be trying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll say Rip, though.
Rip?
Just because fucking...
He does make the movie.
Hogan.
I mean,
he literally made the movie.
Yeah, he was a producer. So for his first movie, I'd say he did pretty decent. Not great.
He totally killed Zeus, by the way, though.
Oh, yeah.
Zeus and the schmuck.
That guy killed himself.
He did Kylo Ren on all those electronics.
This is a great sports movie, though.
He was my MVP.
Oh.
Kurt Fuller. Yeah, Raleigh.
I kept thinking they were saying bro.
It's Brel.
Yeah, jockass.
That's how he answers the phone.
It's
Brel.
That might be my...
They were very proud of that one. They were very proud of Jockass.
This is tough, and I'm going to have to get a little bit of counseling on this one. Out of all the movies we watched, we've heard some interesting lines. Before this point, the best line, I think, that we had heard on the podcast was shit on me. But Jockass might be the new one, and I don't know. I'm gonna put it to the table. Which one is the weirder phrase? Calling someone a jockass or being like, "Oh, this is a bad situation. Shit on me."
Jockass. Hands down, Jockass.
I mean, jockass sounds like a childish insult put together. Out of like, I can't think of anything else to say. I'm just gonna reach out. You're a jock ass, whereas shit on me, like, he's probably been saying that for quite a bit of his life, and where it came from, like, instead of just being like, oh shit, he's like, shit on me. Like,
here's the
some
bigger
more originality to it.
The bigger question that just hit my mind: Hulk Hogan or Vince McMahon? Who do you think came up with Jockass?
Vince McMahon.
That's what I was gonna say. That sounds like 100%, a Vince name,
yeah.
right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have some like concept art of a wrestler named Jockass after this movie. Holy fuck! I have one last question, I guess, at this point. If you were a wrestler, A, what would your name be? B, what would your gimmick be?
Oh, I already know mine. I don't know what my name would be, but I could tell you what my gimmick would be, and it's the one I keep trying to preach to you that I wish existed.
Vape God?
No. That
rather than red mist, he does the red vape. And blows it.
He's not looking.
I'm a super beefy referee.
Whoa.
With other referees to back me up. It's for the
You got a stable of refs?
for the mistreatment of all the refs on every single match. No one listens to the refs on those matches. They're always like, stop it, man. You can't do that. And they're just like, and they're doing it anyway. And so I'm the guy who like backs them up and busts out of the ring with I don't know what song. It's probably something incredibly annoying.
We're
like
not
censorship.
gonna take it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm like a union rep for refs.
So you've got to wear like the ref shirt, but with no sleeves, right?
Oh, yeah. And then they're going to be tattered sleeves, so they look aggressive.
And like the V's like ripped up more, and you've got like armbands on or something.
They're going to be black armbands because it's got to fit with the black and white scheme.
But do you wear slacks or shorts?
They're
That's
going to
the
be
big question.
slacks.
Slacks.
Because they always wear the slacks.
Oh my God.
And they're going to be super shiny dress shoes, which, I mean, you know.
Have fun wrestling in those.
I'd like to carry a whistle, but they don't have whistles. But I think I'd like it as my entrance thing. Like, as soon as I bust out, I'm blowing the whistle, like, no! And then getting in the ring. I don't know a name, though.
The Zebra.
That's not
Zebra
bad.
Avenger.
Ricky the Ref? No, there's too many Rickies.
Yeah, it's too
many Ricks.
Because then you got the dragon, you know, at that point.
Steamboat.
That's a tough one.
That's
it's a
my
solid
shtick, though.
a solid shtick. It's just the name you gotta figure out.
Right.
Something about like something about calls it or something like Tommy calls it.
Regulator Tommy.
Regulator.
Yeah, just go with regulator. Why not?
What would you do if you?
I can't
if you-
top that.
I mean, that's a tough
I
one.
got nothing.
I've given
Like-
this one thought even before this was a question.
Every time I play a game, I make just some generic, big, beefy. This is my avatar. Bullcrap. He's
So you're a
insert fanfic character.
You're a
here.
Vince wet dream. The meme of him like progressively getting more and more excited until he falls over. Look at all that beef.
Yeah. I can't beat that.
Lance the
I
beefcake.
mean, I could
Beefcake.
steal like the Garbage Man
you
from
go.
Jesse Cox and throw garbage at you. I could just be like Lance Mansteel, also from Jesse Cox, because that's the manliest name there is. Lance
Mansteel.
Mansteel.
Man Steel.
Pure steel Lance.
The real deal, Man of Steel.
Buck fuck.
God damn.
I can't.
Sorry,
top
I
that,
just-
no.
I think
Tough y'all.
yeah, I can't beat that for sure. No, I had like Vape God in my back pocket, and I can't do that because I'm like, that's just not me. I think realistically, I'd have to be Little Seamus.
You're his stunt double.
No, I'm his manager, but I dress exactly like him. I have the mohawk, the same body that I have now, so just no definition.
Super scrawny.
I still wear the tights and the boots. And whenever he's doing his thing, I'm doing the same thing. And we both have matching red marks from hitting ourselves. And when I need to distract his opponent, I have like a battery-powered spotlight with like 7,000 lumens. And I just
Shine
like
it on yourself.
point it and bounce it back at them.
Man, is your complexion as light as his? Because
It would be
pale.
It would be. I think so. I think he looks more pale because he's got tons of lights on him.
That's true.
I think if we're both there, I bet I outpale him. I think I'm beyond the pale.
Was
He's
it the Miz that did that?
Oh, he had Sandow for a while. Yeah.
Miz and Sandow.
It would be the same idea, but better because worse.
because you're pasty white.
Oh, fuck.
What's your favorite wrestling moment?
My favorite wrestling moment?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Like funny one or like serious one?
Any.
Undertaker versus Kane the first time. Just that entire feud of
was a
like
good
Kane
match.
showing up and ripping the cage off the door after weeks of Paul Bearer being like, "He's alive, Undertaker!"
Undertaker.
The match itself, if you watch it now, is so fucking boring. WrestleMania 14 is like a slog, but every moment leading up to that is amazing, including like it's the first time he has a big like WrestleMania entrance, really. Where they've got like druids with like fire things, and it's like playing the O Fortuna song. It's dramatic as fuck. And as a kid, the match was awesome, but I watch it now and I'm just like, fuck. This is so dull. It's just like 30 minutes of Kane beating The Undertaker up and then taking 3 tombstones. That's all it is. What's yours?
Probably also Taker and Kane.
Nice.
But after they killed American Badass Taker, they brought back Undead Taker, and then they spent like 15 minutes of the match with Kane just going, "You're not real." They just waited for like fucking 15 minutes doing nothing. He just,
God,
and then
after they took his mask off and
it
they
was
basically
terrible.
castrated him.
Oh yeah.
What's your favorite wrestling moment from the like 7 you've seen?
Oh, I told you. That was the lady waking up from the wheelchair.
Oh, that's right. You did. You did. I thought it was going to be the Macho Man interview.
Oh, I mean,
Poolside.
I guess if that counts, I just figured the actual wrestling match itself.
That's
but
true, yeah.
If we're talking promos, that's 100%.
God, it's cool.
His Coke Bender interview was just rough. Some of the things that man says that just come out of nowhere.
Well, there's a plane, and I'm not on it. I've been Notorious G.I.N.G. with Dead Sprocket and Lance. We've been dudes watch a movie. This has been a podcast. That was No Holds Barred, and the only way to really go out is.
Do you have one for next?
Oh yeah.
Oh, a film for I don't.
That seems about the right way for us to end our thing.
Yeah.
So freeze frame.
We'll keep it up in the